Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Treasury Quick Call on 1st July. We did forget to start recording, but we started the discussion off from planning our next steps. So we have a process which we, for the finalizing all the proposals, helping them get all through. So today in this call, we are basically reviewing and planning. Tomorrow, there is going to be a review on governance. And next week, there is going to be another governance call where we potentially start a new iteration. So ideally, what we want to do is we have these concerns here. If these are addressed, it's done. There is no other consent route needed. Your proposal passes. However, if there are some heavy changes, which potentially from strategy side, or potentially from writer's workbook chart, we might need a new consent form. This will be decided next week for those groups. And if we do, then we're going to have 4 days to do the consenting, and the next Treasury Quick Call, which is in 2 weeks, we are going to finalize the quarterly budget, which also finalizes the budget fitting. And if there is a room and there is a need, then we have a retrospective for Q3 and then day after that. And going to the budget itself, we currently started calculating what if all the budgets get funded, how much the budget fitting will affect them. And then if we take out strategy cooled, then it would be 23%. But if we add it in, if it was something around 20,000 digits, it would be a 31% lowering budget. And now we're back to wherever we was.
No, to me, this is pretty clear. Maybe we can publicize this timeline potentially in the same way we did before with a screenshot, so that everybody not in the call is also aware of it. Also noting I personally won't be able to join tomorrow's governance working group.
All right. Are you guys hear me?
Yes.
All right. Good day, everyone. I wanted to suggest something. So, I'm of the opinion of we working on the fitted budget after all proposals have been approved. And from what Tevo said, excluding the strategy guild proposal, the fitted budget will be 53%, around that percentage. Then including it, it will be around 31%. So just to prevent other bubbles from operating, initially those that have already gotten consensus. So I would suggest that we give a benchmark of, let's say, 27% to all work groups. So they should have the idea that, okay, if now all this reduction or cuts in budget is going to be around 27%, so they have to start working on it, so that they have that the idea that, okay, it's going to be around this benchmark. Then for instance, strategy guild and the writers group goes back to reevaluate their budget and present a different budget, which I presume might be lower than what they initially have. Then all work groups are still safe in terms of 27%. So we could just set that as a benchmark for other work groups, so that they could start preparing on how they could reduce the budget to fit the fitted budget. What do you guys think?
We did try it last quarter, and there has been discussions in previous quarter, and it didn't work. What actually funny thing what happened when we last time asked to reduce budget by, I think it was like $500, like there was I think 20% of reduction required. What happened was 5 or 6 proposals actually increased their budget by 100% or even more. So it was like complete opposite effect. And from there, this is what my understanding. Oh, holy shit, this is a greedy move. And like to me, this is a parameter in systems, which I'm trying to kind of make sense and then figure out. Currently, the way it works, or ideally that reduces all that overhead and somebody else trying to figure out your budgets. It's just that this, well, reward you ask, let's say, I don't know what school you're from, for example, gamer school there. They asked 4,000 almost, which makes it 6,000 AGX. Fitted budget is 4,600. So now the gamer school themselves will have to figure out this 1,400 AGX, where are they taking it from? Are they going to do one less, I don't know, work group, or like they do this virtual rooms? If they have multiple virtual rooms, maybe they reduce one room less, or they reduce everybody's hourly rate by from 20 to, I don't know, 17 or 18, and then it will work. It's just that if your hourly rate is quite easy to manipulate it. Or yeah, you do specific assets less. The main point is that on final report, you just say what didn't you do, and this will give an idea for the rest of us to learn how this work group operates when the budgets are lower than expected. And then if they ask more rewards or less rewards next month, then we can, based on that, give our consent. Vanessa, because there was some of that, but I don't see it.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think we have to leave it to individual work groups to work out how they're going to fit their budget, because it's going to be different for everyone. And I guess they will explain that in their Q3 quarterly reports, what they've done. But I do think it shouldn't have to be something that is announced at the top of, now or at the start of the quarter, because I think people are going to be losing quite a lot, and they're going to have to assess it as they go along. I think they're going to have to be able to be responsive, and I think that's valid, rather than saying now, all right, we're going to cut this and we're going to cut this. I think they have to have a bit of leeway to think what they might do and what they might not. Does that make sense?
Yeah, Vani, I wanted to ask, is what you said, I'm trying to see if it's different from what I said, or are we saying the same
Sorry,
thing?
I didn't hear. Can you say again?
No, I said what you just suggested now. Is it in any way different from what I said?
It was different from what I understood you to say. I thought you were suggesting that work groups should have to say at this stage how they're going to cut their budgets, and that we should be like advising them on how they should do that. Did I
No.
misunderstand?
Yeah, that's not what I meant.
Oh,
I
okay,
meant like,
sorry.
yeah, they should have like an idea of how many percent cuts is going to be affecting their budget. So for now, we are not will I say we don't have a particular percentage, because we are yet to include strategy guild, and if we include that, the cuts will increase to 31% from what Tevo said, and if we exclude strategy guild, the cut will reduce to 23%. So I was just trying to see if there's a benchmark. Let's just say 27%. So each work group already knows that, okay, we might be affected by around the range of 27% cuts. So we can now start preparing on how we will take those cuts.
Yeah. That's really good. So what would we sort of put out a little statement now to say, like, your budget lowering percentage is going to be somewhere between about 27 to about 31. So start thinking now. Is that kind of what you're thinking?
Yeah, something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And Tevo, as regards to what you said, I think this issue you raised, is kind of valid, because I feel that if most people actually are aware that they are going to take a cut, then they would want to increase their budgets outrageously, so that whenever the cuts takes place, they are not still affected by the cut. So in my opinion in this is that I would suggest that the first budget iteration, the first consensus iteration, that's there shouldn't be any increment in the budget. So if a budget does not get consent, then we should I think most of the issues when it comes to consent is lowering the budget instead of increasing the budget. So that work group cannot increase. Rather, if the consent is as regards to lowering the budget, then they can lower the budget. So once you already submitted your first proposal, you cannot go back and increase that same proposal. That's just my suggestion to that.
Yeah, I do agree. Although I think that was addressed, but in first iteration there was some kind of blocker that there are too little rewards. I think that was a gamer school one or education school one, I'm not sure. I think in the second, even though I'm still feel like even if they increase, budget increases $1,000, I quickly glanced over it when I copy pasted the feedback. I didn't notice anybody having a blocker because rewards are too low and should increase. So this probably won't happen. But yeah, that's a good point. Right now, it technically allows changing budget amount too. We could, like, what are the other things? Do we want to have like a rule that you cannot increase your budget after the first submission? Or is it, or budget increase might also be a thing that needs to happen when to make a proposal valid? Oh, that because yeah, there is, because I think marketing boiler somewhere there was this message that allocate some money for all budget lines. So they are like, they say they do activity, but they don't put any rewards on the marketing boiler. Yeah. So technically, it might increase the budget of marketing boiler. Or we've just misunderstood that, and there is actually budget, it's just in different line or aggregated somewhere else. Yeah, I know, but this, I guess this case by case still. If the budget is increasing, I think this is when we are doing this new iteration. I think that's a fact. And substantially. So if it's increasing like 10%, then I guess it's not gonna really affect that much. Like 1,000 AGX from everybody will be so it from here. Can't do it here. How much is 20 minus 9 is 15 budgets, so it's like 1,000 times 50/50 from everybody's pocket. More than 10%, then you want to send proposal most likely needed. How does that sound? If the budget is increasing more than 10%, then new consent proposal most likely is needed. And this will take, for example, is marketing grid does indeed need more budget here. And if it is bigger than $1,010, $1,100, I can't really 1,010 yet, then it will require another consent for new iteration. And Sukran, you're asking if the price is going to increase anytime soon. This is actually up to the ambassador program if we do want to increase. There is many ways to increase ambassador program, but so far we haven't really come together to do that discussion. But by protocol, what is happening is actually every month the amount we ask is decreasing. But I think we are aggregating the average every year or every quarter. I'm not quite sure how often we calculate the averages. But yeah, our prices our rewards are going down. And what increases the price mainly is the token increase itself. Because as we know, we started off with $5,000 for everybody in the ambassador program per month. Now it's a lot more. I don't even know how much.
Yeah, I can also comment a little to that. Honestly, I feel quite happy that the 0.5% is more securely locked in than before. Yeah, there's it's just conceptually a fact that the phase 2 allocations they go down every month by 1.5%, and yeah, that leads to on the yearly average for the monthly allocation to go down as well compared to last year. But as Tevo noted, we're now working with a budget in USD that's completely crazy almost, like compared to what we were having earlier. Yeah, technically they could decide to not give 0.5%, but a higher allocation. Sure.
Does the ACI marriage have any effect? Because or the IGX was already pre-minted.
Well, no, there's no direct impact. Yeah, phase 2 allocations for Singularity Net itself, they are unaffected by the merger. It might have impact on the future of the supervisory council in general. That's currently unclear. I also see a question like, I'd like to know that they are aware. Well, right now the current supervisory council is not in place. Their term ended. And elections for the new one are not underway yet. That will happen. However, yeah, right now there is not even a supervisory council technically. So also because of that, they are not aware of anything, and they also cannot comment on what they would want to see in order for that to happen.
Yeah, I meant when such time as when there is a new supervisory council in place. Yeah, I totally agree though.
Yeah, fair. I can only imagine that they would be open to discussions on it. At the same time, yeah, nothing that's with current budgets, we're getting about, I don't know the number, 140K tokens a month, which is close to 100K USD. I mean, that's an insane number, right? I'm not sure if we are in the position to ask for more funds, to be honest.
And when I mentioned we can always increase our budget, what I meant is ambassador program is a service, and there is already examples of other ecosystem in Singularity funding activities in here. For example, translation work group has technically increased the budget because they are also getting rewarded outsourced, like rewarding. And another potential is deep funding or catalyst or intersect if we want to take our services, our internal ways of doing stuff, and we want to integrate other communities into what we have. So you could use ambassador program as a tool on other networks as an example, and getting funding through other ways. So it's more like a partnerships, more stuff like that. But yeah, I personally, I don't think the ambassador program is ready for that kind of networking from my perspective. But we are very good example I've been using and in Intersect, for example, of how we operate and how it is even possible that people just self-govern and pay themselves, get stuff done, which is actually a very big feat that we have achieved here. A lot of communities and organizations don't find it easy to give access to funds. There's even though we are increasing the bureaucracy every every quarter and every week. Some depends on activities. It's still, at least it's emergent, and we are kind of all together with these ideas and rectifying what we want to this program to be. So it's the bureaucracy here is, I guess, necessary minimum we have come up based on our current status and skills. Okay, but I feel like we're not gonna have too much to say about the quarterly budget here. I will take us to the scheduling stuff, but more on scheduling summer breaks. I'm gonna use policy work group Maraport for this because I have a calendar there. You could also use Google Calendar, but actually maybe it's better if I use Google, and let's see if I change it to that. And then I assume there is an option to week, month, and then we go to July. I'm gonna be here, so there is no worries there. But on August, I will be basically entire August. I will be on and off, but especially for this Monday meeting and 12th. Here I'm not available. So open question here. We used to last year, 3 days ago, we did like a vacation calendar where everybody indicated when they are off, and we realized like a common week where probably most of the people didn't do anything. I think some work groups still did, like writers work was on, but basically not a collective break, but still substantially a lot of people were taking a break. And taking a break is also a good thing. We don't want to overwork people here. And it sometimes has to be even forced in that you have to take a break. Although we didn't get to consensus last time that we forced people to take a break and left them each individual to manage their freedom. But what are your thoughts on Treasury on August? Does somebody want to facilitate the 12th session, or shall we take a break here? Or do we want to move it? And I'm not too sure about the Monday stuff either. And if there are, at the end of August, there are people from here already, 3 or 4 who want to kind of join the call, but probably are in vacation, maybe the entire month to kind of pick off. And I also like what Vanessa mentioned in the policy workshop, that technically, if you're all gonna get the haircut of 20 to 30%, maybe it is a good idea to have a summer break so that it doesn't really affect the budget after all. Well, it kind of depends on a work group. And in Treasury, it's about $80 max for running this thing, this call we have right now, prepping, facilitation, plus meetings and money. And a bit of coordination. So it's, yeah, well, Treasury doesn't have any budget issues. We have leftovers, we have contingency, we have so many stuff, so not really a problem here, but yeah, just pointing it out. Breaks are good, saves money. Ideally, we have everything figured out from the policy side, well, like not policy side, from the process side of things. We even have one more session after that fitting to kind of set ourselves, maybe even a Treasury retrospective, if you want to have on what it would be 29th. So this session maybe retro, and then a farewell to the next 2 sessions and be back on September to basically see where we are at, start reminding people that, hey, September is the last. Is it last month of quarter, right? October, December, no, yeah. So technically it's good that we are back in September then and start pushing people to start writing reports for the quarter and potentially helping them. I think there is like a lot of help needed from Treasury side to help people do reports. But I personally haven't had time between all of that mess of other stuff. Onyeka.
All right. From the discussion previously, so this is actually a nice idea. Yeah. But I just have a question. Will there be town halls, usual town halls, or the whole program is going on a break? Like, because if some work groups, or let's say majority of the work groups break and they are still town halls, then I think the video work group will still be publicizing the town hall videos. And I don't know. So is it going to be a total break for the whole month? Because in a way, it's kind of look nice, since that this court is going to take a very huge impact in all the war groups. So this break kind of helps to balance things. But I just want to be sure of how this break is going to go.
Yeah, I can't speak for the whole program, but for Treasury Guild, I doesn't look like there is any pushback on removing the August sessions.
No, just to chime in there, I would say it's up to work groups themselves. Treasury cannot decide for all other work groups. Yeah.
Oh, I thought Vanessa came up with the solution of the whole entire ambassador program going on break. That's what I was trying to ask.
Yeah, that's a suggestion. But also Vanessa cannot speak for all work groups. Yeah.
Yeah, it was only an idea, Onyeka. I was just like thinking that.
Yeah, it's
How can I
actually
put
nice.
it? It's like giving people permission to do that rather than, do you know what I mean? Because people sometimes think, oh, we can't, we have to keep going. That's all I was thinking.
I guess it starts with an example that, hey, there are work groups going on holiday, and if it maybe it's a good example from Treasury that, hey, you can also take entire month off, and that's then those who have that inkling that, well, I would have liked to have a break, but because nobody else is having, I'm not gonna also have. And also like an ambassador discussion, probably it's gonna be relevant. In policy work group, I already mentioned that the first one is gonna be affected. The second one, probably not. I did mention that I'm kind of fine with it.
I was just going to say that the only thing I think, the only implication program wide is that no really significant decisions should be made during August, on the assumption that some work groups might decide to take it all off. We can't, like, yeah, I think we just have to say that significant decisions will have to wait till September. Obviously, that raises the question of what is a significant decision, but I think we kind of know what would be out of order to decide when lots of people are not here.
I probably will know once people are back in September, and that is like, I don't know, a random rule that people are confused about. Okay. Okay, so shall I remove then August events, this event, and we already kind of said that this is fine to remove. And what's happened with the 26th? Do we want to have it?
Tevo, are we removing for Treasury Guild? Just for
Yes.
Treasury Guild. So are we removing both the operations and the usual sessions? Or is it just the policy work group and the sessions and we're keeping the operations?
Yeah, I've known that. Tomorrow I will take that question also to operations, and because we have this vacation, we have a bit more. You know, you have been. We have this more detailed way of planning our facilitation. I do see it, technically it is possible to run operations without me, because I cannot join this one, but because we have so many people who now know how to operate, and we have two people who have access to the transactions. So I don't know, like it is possible that it's like lives forever. However, if we would like to be more, like at least 1 week of break, it's also fine. I would prefer if it's always on, and totally fine if just, I don't know, 3 people are joining the call to get the stuff done. Because of this vacation monthly thing, if that really works out, then the operation calls will also be much easier because no tasks are being done. I think we actually had that experience last summer, where the one operation call, we only had like 10 tasks or something. Good old times. So yeah. But yeah, that is discussed next tomorrow. And the tevo, PBL, and knowledge I will discuss on Wednesday. So we do have time. I'm just starting early. Okay, so that is also, I guess, planned. Summer breaks, entire August off. Be back in September. And yeah, most likely I will do another when to meet link. Oh, probably not. Yeah, probably not. But we with the new last quarter, we might want to do some rescheduling of our schedules and time zones and dates. Okay. Anything else? Any questions about what we discussed today, or some open topics, or some issues you have with wallet addresses? Anybody not receiving funds? This is a perfect moment to ask.
All right, Tevo, we're not taking these concerns presented by on some of the budgets. We're not taking them today, or is that going to be in the governance call?
I guess the review, the concept, like reading the actual concerns and changes, this will be discussed in governance, but I don't even know how to start it. I haven't been in any of the goals, I think. So, but I assume, I know the open code style, I guess it's very joined in and just read what's the issue and addressing it.
It's going to be interesting. I personally won't be able to attend, also not facilitate, because of not being there. Not sure if we need somewhat of a plan there, because yeah, there's quite some objections still.
Do we know if Felix is able to be there, or have we not heard?
I haven't. I don't know.
Okay, maybe we should check then. 'Cause
The only thing on my calendar is like, I do have SNet governance work group on the like potentially possible to join if I don't have any other tasks, which I do. So, but 30 minutes after SNet gov work, intersect gov work is starting. So I'm not sure if that is affecting. I'm not aware if Felix is going to that call. But yeah, if I would join the governance group, I probably only would be that the first 30 minutes, because then I would want to be in the intersect governance group too. But right now I have some intersect registration stuff planned for the governance time. Well, okay. I hear no other thoughts. Then see you in the, I don't know where. Next SNet meeting for me is Treasury operation call.
Okay.
And not sure, but maybe catering, you are up next. So yeah, if you want to deal with the permission stuff, then 30 minutes before the Treasury good operation, well, you can handle that. I will send you direct message and info.
Tevo, please can you send that to me too? Because since I changed my device, I need to get the permissions too and set it up.
Yes, you can join again.
All right.
Technically, you should be able to asynchronously do that. We are every time we follow the guide, it's just the guide is on my level. But yeah, if it's easier, you can also join the call and just go through the process with us.
I'll be there. I'll be there tomorrow.
And you know why that's funny thing that the first time you joined, I think you asked, can I operate one-to-one just to know the field? I think this is every session now. There is this like call before the call where we go to one-to-one. Established a standard. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks to me like it's taken a while, but it's now finally getting to a spot where yeah, where the knowledge is spread around a bit more. So kudos there.